I've never done a murder mystery, that genre, before.
Quiet, please. Let's do the whole thing. Let's start with everybody in the wrong places.
I've done almost every kind of genre, and I love to take them and then kind of turn them over a little bit, look at them a little differently.
All right, rehearsal. Okay, quiet, please.
The classic sort of Altman thing is an ensemble piece. It's interweaving. Everybody's got their own agenda. Everybody's got their own through line through the film.
It's like nothing else I've ever worked on.
It's just fun. It's just really good fun.
Excellent.
It's been amazing. Incredibly liberating as an actor.
I'm really kind of waiting or hoping for a mistake, a recognition of truth.
He just sort of stands there waving his hands a bit, and it all magically kind of seems to fall into place.
And we say, wow, look at that. That's what I want to keep.
The lines get screwed up and muddled up. Fight your way out of it. Like you do at a dinner party.
They wanted to do a film set in a 1930s house party with a murder. Not exactly a sort of homage to Agatha Christie, but a kind of reworking of that genre, you know.
I like to deal with a conventional situation because the audience then is comfortable, and then you can kind of turn it over.
Turn over.
All 23, take 2.
And then, of course, once we started it, I said, but I don't really want to do a whodunit. I want to do a that it was done, not whodunit.
This is an Altman movie. The script for him is a starting point.
Once I had it all cast, I didn't have a script. I don't want to learn the script. I don't want to follow the script to see if the actors do what the script says. They know the script. They're learning that because that's their parachute. We do a scene, I say, that's terrific, and I'll turn to the script supervisor and I'll say, did we get all the plot points in?
Will you also want to cover the kicking out of the movie?
And she'll say, well, no, they left out the thing about the murder. I'll say, oh, shit, well, we got to do that again, and so who's supposed to mention the murder? Because I don't know.
All right, now let's play this game. Let's assume that we have to do this right now. The person is going up.
As we add each character and what their idiosyncrasies are, what their conditions are, it almost dictates the story. The story kind of tells itself.
Taken a particular time in England where prejudices and snobbery and kind of small-mindedness is really very heightened, and he's shining a torch on kind of every ugly aspect of our nationhood.
The interesting thing, of course, is that the social hierarchy of the below stairs was actually more than the above stairs.
The servants' domain downstairs has the same ritual as the upstairs. They repeat it downstairs.
And I think it's a source of comedy in English literature and life, you know, for the last 1,000 years.
It just slowly reveals the ridiculousness of it, the dependency of grown, adult, rich people who own houses, massive houses and estates, their utter dependency on a servant class. I don't think the English crunchy house would have been seen in quite this way before.
I'm dealing with this. What is it, Mr. Wise?
We started talking about it and realized that it might be a very interesting thing to do a murder mystery that was told entirely from the point of view of the servants.
I said, okay, so let's not bring the audience above stairs unless they're accompanied by a below stairs person. It is then transmitted to the audience from below stairs as gossip. And this, of course, developed into such an ensemble piece. I mean, there's 35 characters in this.
I just am kind of overwhelmed at the variety of brilliant and amazing actors that we've assembled for this piece. Looking around and seeing Maggie Smith over there and Kristen Scott Thomas in that direction and Jeremy Northam there and Derek Jacobi over there and Alan Bates in that direction.
Everywhere you looked, there was either someone you knew very well, and it was lovely to see, or it was someone you'd admired forever and was at last meeting.
And Bob said, all of you are the lead. Whenever you're on the screen, your story is the main story.
Let's rehearse this once without the rain, and then we'll do it.
And of course, that is his hallmark. But the other thing, which is part of this actually, is that because he is who he is able to persuade this extraordinary group of actors to appear in this, doing parts that they wouldn't think of doing and haven't done parts that size for 20 years.
That sort of thing comes from the culture of the movie business. Agents will tell their client, well, it's much better to be in a big bad picture than in a small good picture.
I was intimidated coming in because I know what a commitment there is made to the arts in Europe, much more so than America, and that a lot of these people have been trained far more classically than I have been.
We're isolated to this, and then go across and listen.
It's a very comfortable set to be on because there are many old friends on the set. And also I think because we're all really in it together.
I don't think that the experiment would have begun to work without a cast such as this.
Well, I just think it's terrific. It's a whodunit. It's everything. It's a comedy. It's funny. It's brilliantly written. It's directed by the best director in the world. There's a certain freedom about it, and there's the way Bob directs, which is unlike any other film director I've ever worked with. There's no sort of seeming structure to it. You know, you don't do a master shot and then medium and then a close-up. You get more and more frightened as the close-up comes nearer. There's none of that, which is wonderful.
So we're starting with Le Chien, and here we go. Okay, here we go, action.
He's richer than anyone else. Well, they're all after his dosh, you know. No, they don't really like him. He's a bit common, isn't he? I think he's a bit crude.
Everybody is in a kind of a life and death struggle for something. Somebody wants to desperately leave and make a better life for themselves. Somebody's hiding a secret. Somebody's in love with somebody. Somebody wants to be in love with somebody. Everybody in this house is filled with some kind of passionate life.
Well, she's married out of necessity, somebody she cannot stand. You know.
I am having an affair with the head of the house. Everybody knows that we're carrying on, but it's never mentioned, it's never said, it's never referred to.
The butler was the king, the housekeeper is the queen of the household. She describes herself as the ultimate good servant.
I play Mary, who's Lady Constance Trentham's lady's maid. I'm her eyes and ears downstairs. I kind of tell her any information that I've heard.
I'm a visiting servant who comes to the house with plenty of attitude.
My character is, for most of the movie, pretty mysterious. You kind of don't know exactly what his place is and that sort of thing.
All right, turn over.
Hey, camera. Action! Well, I'm in a slightly odd position of playing a person who actually lived and was very well known.
Since I happen to be in England, I'm out here doing research for my movie.
Cut!
The thing that Robert Altman does so brilliantly, like Rembrandt, he just goes like this, and you see somebody in the corner, and you know their whole life.
It's like any painting. Somebody looks at it, and it hits a button with them. It hits a place, and they go out and they say, oh boy, I don't know what that was, but that's right. That's right. And that's what you're trying to get the audience to do. That's what I'm trying to get the audience to do, is to get excited about a recognition of truth. Just play it as it plays. Don't worry about talking at the same time with other people, because that's what we're doing. I'm trying to encourage actors not to take turns, to really encourage them to deal with conversation as conversation.
At one point I thought, all this improvisation and ad-libbing was going to be the survival of the loudest, but in fact people have been really respectful of each other, and there hasn't been any kind of camera hogging, unless it's all coming from me, and I haven't noticed.
What I'm trying to get to here is that we don't do one of these things where we're going down the table and you say your lines, and then you say your lines, and you say your lines, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to do them simultaneously.
If you're willing to take a little leap of faith and realize that as an actor, you can have a lot of say in where your character goes, what your character says, and you get into a collaborative relationship with Altman, you're going to be served very, very well.
We're going to do, I'm sorry to say, what you've already forgotten, but we're doing the whole scene.
It's like getting into the cold water. You put your toe in, you say, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then they learn that this is kind of fun.
Oh yes, it's great fun. He's got enormous sense of humour, great kindness, great sensitivity, and is obviously having a ball, enjoying himself, and that communicates to us.
Should I just take the gamble that I move away from the door during the...
Well, I tell you what.
And he has a way of doing it without putting any pressure on or making people feel uncomfortable, or he lets everybody feel as if they're inventing their own thing.
So let's see you just closing the door.
In order to get him to do that, I have to assure them or give them the confidence that they'll be protected. And if they do something that's stupid, nobody's ever going to see it. I want them to be as comfortable as I can possibly make them, because then I have the chance of getting a piece of performance that they don't even know they can give.
The 3-shot on this camera is all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He may seem like, an elderly gentleman standing there saying, "Okay, let's try again." But he's something very, very different. I've not really worked with a director of quite that stamp before.
Once you're here on Clive, then you want to stay there to pick up Kristen crossing.
What I'm always interested in films are the errors and mistakes. Because if you can go to every film, at least every film I've made, and you say, okay, in each film there's 6 really great things in it. None of those had been planned. Every one of those things that you would take out as the high point of any film of mine came as something that was not scripted, not planned, and certainly not directed by me.
Where I think
Because I think that's where you hit that truth button.
that last take we did, however, Kelly, was so good you'll never do that good again. No, but try. Continue your movement over to pick up Ryan.
Yeah.
And then he takes you across and you're looking up the stairs.
And I'm looking for behavior. Because what I really want to see from an actor is something I've never seen before. So I can't tell them what that is.
It's been amazing for me. So many times you're tied to doing beat by beat exactly what's on the page, and kind of everything has to be clean and obvious, and it's been great because you feel like you're living.
So you're allowed to take risks, so you're allowed to try things that you're not quite sure will work, but maybe they will.
All right. Rehearsing.
We've got that scene in a minute. He
where
lets things breathe, lets everybody feel it's the easiest thing, people strolling in and out of scenes, but at the same time he's got eyes in the back of his head, he's incredibly incisive.
Yes, and push him away and march.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Robert has this amazing knack for choreographing the scenes, really.
The important thing in this scene, in this thing we're shooting now...
You feel that you're not left high and dry on an island, that the whole scene around you is full of detail and interest. You're not sort of working all alone out there.
To get to watch these actors do what they do all day, every day, was nothing short of a thrill and a privilege.
Action!
I think I've got lightning in a bottle here.
And the winner is Robert Altman.
I don't know what a best director is, except that someone that stands in the same space with the best actors.
The films selected as the Best Picture nominees for 2001 are...
I've been through this before, and I was right. It was terrific.
Gosford Park, Robert Altman, Bob Balaban, and David Levy, producers.
We're proud of what we did and what we set out to do.